Hey everybody, it's Travis speaking. If you're following along with the structural series, we took a little bit of a look last time on how to create some of these foundations that we're seeing here. So we've got some piles and caps, we've got some foundation walls, I've replaced the grade beams that we had in there from before. We've got a couple floor sweeps here, or slab edges I guess you want to call them. You want to make sure that those don't go all the way through. So there's easy ways to make those edits. That's just kind of pulling those nodes back. So yeah, we also explored how to create the foundation slab in here in our elevator pit. So I want to kind of explore that a little bit and talk a little bit about the difference between floors and the structural slab that we've already got created here. But I think what I'll do is, can I get my face-based selection on, select that guy? Yeah, I can. Okay, perfect. So let's get this in 3D. I'm gonna select this whole elevator tower, hit BX to get the box, and then just extend the extents of that using my reveal hidden elements. Okay, so now I can see where I'm cutting through. Let's just see the slab. Okay, perfect. That's kind of where I'm at. I wanted to see this. So right now I've got this 6-inch foundation slab, and as I mentioned in the previous video, we don't really have many options for slope drainage in here. The other thing is that these walls in between don't go all the way down to that slab, so we'll make sure that we have that. Right now this is set to top of footing minus 1'6". So that means that these guys as well need to go to top of footing minus 1'6". That brings those down. Now in each one of these spaces, let's say we were trying to put some drainage, then I need to be able to slope this from the outside edge down into a floor drain, and I can't do that. There's no shape editing options. So what I think I'm going to do is, instead of having this as 6 inches, I'm going to duplicate this guy, and I'm going to say that it's 4 inches instead. Change the thickness to be 4 inches, and that should bring it down, or it brings it up. Okay, I've just changed that from 6 to a 4, so I'm going to say minus 8. That brings that all the way down. Now I'm going to make up that difference using a floor. But now I've brought these down further, I've brought the slab down further, so I need to bring these down further as well. I'm going to bring them all the way down to 1'8". And then selecting my slab, I'll hit Edit Sketch and just select that sketch and copy that to my clipboard. Okay, it says, do you want to remove the overlapping geometry? I'll say yes, sure, that's fine. It's not going to, because this is going from, well, actually, it's that joint right there, right? So I should have this sketch saved. Really what I'm trying to do is just get the exact perimeter of that slab so that I can throw another slab right on top of it. But this slab is going to actually be a floor. Now, if we take a look at this, floor architectural versus floor structural, this one just shows a flat bottom and this one shows a corrugate. We're going to get into this in another view. For the time being, I'm just choosing it as structural so that the structural parameter turns on. And I'm going to go look for a 4-inch screed, which I don't see, but this is essentially what I'm going to create. So I'm just going to go to the 6-inch concrete, duplicate that, call it 4 inches. Change this. And then I'm going to change the material on this as well. Go get my concrete. This is the one that I've been changing my walls to and everything else, so I'm going to stick with that. No function for this. Oh, doesn't really matter for now. But I should be able to just say paste, align to current view, and then that sketch goes right back in where I want it. And then you can define what your span is here, but for this one it doesn't really matter. Okay, it says structural floor span direction not specified. Continue. Thought I had it specified. So I'm just picking any of the lines in this sketch. That's fine. Now this one, again, I'm going to say no to that because I want this to be a cold pour, meaning this wall gets formed, this footing is formed, and then this comes and this rests on. So there shouldn't be any like continuity between these three forms. But I feel like when I place this floor, it's possible that I put that in, but I put it too high, so it should actually be sitting right on top of this one. And then the shaft that I just modified should go to the underside of that slab there. Okay, now these two, made of the same material, if we hit join, they come together to look like one slab. But now this one here, if you'll notice, I've got all these other options. So I'm going to try to put a drain in each one of these areas. But to do that, I'm just going to create some model lines here. And we'll place these at the top of footing. And let's see here. I want this floor drain to be basically a small square right here. So why don't I draw a line right here, another line right here, and I need this line to be 6 inches. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm setting up a bit of a framework that I can use for these floor drains. So all this drawing, right? Yeah, but it helps me place my sub elements. So I shouldn't need that. I can take this now and mirror it like that one, and if I mirror this guy, I just need to do that same thing as before, and that gives me a center point. Okay, so now I've got my 4 drain locations, and those are just temporary. But grabbing the floor, not the structural slab, now I can get in here and start adding some points. So if I say point, and I'm going to use this offset from surface and go -3 inches. I just want to click on each one of these points. This gets real messy real quick. This is where now I want to assess where these are at 0, and these are at, or they should be at, -3. They're not. I'm going to make sure. -3 inches. Okay. And then the other thing that you want to do, go back to our modify sub elements, we're going to put split lines, and so these split lines aren't going to have any, there's not going to be any difference. It's just going to segment out this slab so that the high points are always at the wall. I'll hit escape. Now there's something going on that's pretty crazy here. Let's say we want to say modify sub elements again. I'm just going to take a look. Did I have a, oof. I don't know how these got to be what they are, but let's say -3 inches again. Now it looks a little bit cleaner. -3 inches. minus 3 inches. And now I've got something that looks quite nice. So if I click outside of that sketch, hit escape, now all of these model lines that are there, they don't need to be there anymore. So we can make a selection, go to our filter, take those model lines out, which is all we have selected, and my floor edit is still there. Okay. The span symbol I don't need in there for the time being. Let me just get rid of that. But when we look at this now in 3D, you can actually see that shape editing taking effect. And if we need to be a little bit more meticulous with this, we can go in and use a spot slope to see what we actually have. Okay, so that one's saying 5%, 5%. Maybe my 3 inches is a little bit much. So I can always come back to this after, say modify sub-elements, and if I grab all of those at once, let's try minus 1.5, hit enter, and I'm trying to just get something a little bit less. Did that take effect? No, it didn't. .5, enter. Do our spot slope. Okay, so now you can see we've got something a little bit less, but that's something right there, right? That degree, I don't really want that. I want that to be a percentage. So if I say edit type here, I'll duplicate this one, call this percentage, because I do like that slope arrow in there as it is, but I need to go to my units, not my alternate units, sorry, my primary units, and say give me this as a percentage. I don't want a decimal place, but I do want that percentage symbol in there. If I hit OK, now I've got 3%. That's pretty steep, but you can see the process is basically the same. And we just go back and keep editing these until we've got the slope that we're actually after. So if I make that a 0, we only go down a half an inch. Now I'm down to 1%, and we can keep going around testing that out to see what we have. And I've got the drainage that I'm after, and it will actually show in 3D the way that we want. Okay, so that's one way to get that slope drainage in there that's not showing it as just a simple annotation. But setting up those construction lines are a huge help in getting this to look physically, or in 3 dimensions, what you want it to look like in 2 dimensions. So we're going to take a little bit of a look at floors, structural floors that use corrugated deck for forming. We're going to take a look at that in the next video. So if you like what you're seeing, or you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, hit subscribe, and yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye now.